there is a unit in the playoffs, and I will give you a hint. It is a defense. They are on a defense that is truly the no one believed in us unit.
No one.
Do you have
believed in
ideas about this?
I
Because I was reading about them today.
I wasn't thinking of a unit, but if you want to talk about a team that no one believed in us, it would either be the Denver Broncos, who were in salary cap hell, and a rookie quarterback, and their defense is elite, and here they are, they haven't beat anyone, but they find themselves in the postseason. Or if you wanted to say a defense that no one believed in us, I guess you could say of a good defense, you could say the Vikings and what Brian Flores is doing, because it's kind of made of a bunch of spare parts, and they've been great.
Buzzer.
Commanders?
Nope. I'm talking of a group of guys on the defense of the Los Angeles Rams.
Oh, okay.
So there's an article in the Wall Street Journal about them. Very interesting. Not a lot of people know a lot of the names on the Rams defense.
No, they do not.
Because Aaron Donald's gone, all their their studs when they won the Super Bowl, those guys are all gone.
And I think they have 5 rookies that play on
that's just it.
Okay.
So the thing about them is, because Stafford and Puka Nacua and McVay, they get all the talk. But the Rams have a pretty good defense.
Yes,
and they're all young. And what happened was, as you pointed out many years ago, because I've done a show with you for a long time,
Yes,
I remember you saying this. You said that the Rams are selling out to win a Super Bowl because they are trading all of their draft picks. They're traded all of their first round and second round picks.
Yeah, they went all in
to win a Super Bowl. Well, they won a Super Bowl.
Yep.
But the residual of that is they don't have any first or second round draft picks.
Yep.
Well, that has forced their GM, same GM, Les Snead, to find diamonds in the rough in the draft.
And they have.
And he has.
Yep.
So let me list some of these guys. Maybe the first time some of our listeners have heard of these guys, but you have a guy by the name of Jared Verse, who could possibly be the defensive rookie of the year.
He's the kid out of Florida State, if you don't know, and he has been number 8.
Because did he get injured at the end of his career at Florida State? I thought that he did.
I don't know. He didn't play in the bowl game. He sat out of the bowl game, but Verse went into that year. He was a transfer into Florida State, and he went into the year with a lot of hype, and I don't know, it kind of cooled off. But Jared Verse is an all-pro level player. He plays on the outside for them, the edge rusher. He's been great.
So he was not recruited out of high school.
Yeah.
He was a pass rusher at Albany and was running deliveries for DoorDash before Florida State found him.
Yeah. It's crazy.
So that's one. The next guy is defensive tackle Kobe Turner,
who was, I think, last year's kind of version of Jared Verse.
He started at Richmond as a walk-on. Defensive lineman Braden Fisk started off at Western Michigan. Then
he also, by the way, came from Verse, and him both came from that Florida State team last year. Been phenomenal.
Byron Young played at the Georgia Military College.
Jeez.
And then Michael Hoke went to Brown. And along with Verse, those 5 guys lead the team in sacks, and not one of them enrolled in a major program out of high school.
Wow. That I did not know. I knew that Verse had kind of come from a lower kind of level, and it kind of popped, but I didn't know about the rest of them.
So in a league with a $255 million salary cap, do you want to know what their defense costs?
Oh, it's got to cost nothing. I mean, I don't know.
Well, it costs more than nothing.
I don't think that there is a single, like I said, I think they have like 5 first or second year players that are not first rounders, although Verse is a first rounder. He went somewhere in the 20s. I can't think of a single, Omar Spates, by the way, also starts for that defense, if Oregon State via LSU. I can't think of a single high-priced player on that defense. So I'm going to say you got starting 12. I'm going to say that cap is like, I don't know, like 20.
So league average,
yeah,
$92 million.
$92 million. I'm going to say like somewhere, I don't know, maybe in the 30s, 30, 35 mil.
Yep, $39.5 million.
Yeah.
Which is $27 million less than the next team.
Yeah.
That's the most undervalued defense in the league.
And they're good.
Well, yeah, they're good. That's what I'm saying. Les Snead traded all his picks, and the residual of that is, hey, you got to be better in the draft. You got to find guys like this
Yes.
that other teams are maybe not on their board or they're under the radar. And he did it in times 5.
There is the inverse of this, the opposite, and this is why the NFL, despite we make a big deal about quarterback salaries, and we love free agency, and when someone trades for like a big receiver, the Rams should have been dead in the water, right? After they made that Super Bowl run and then they had to tear that team apart, right? That should have been dead in the water. And yet here we are with a playoff team the last 2 years. And also, by the way, give them credit on the offensive side of the ball too, because they went out and found, when did Puka Nacua was like a 4th or 5th round pick. Who's their Kyron Williams, the back out of Notre Dame? He was a 4th or 5th round pick. They have found guys on the offensive side of the ball too. And when you have a bloated roster with dead money and you don't have a lot of picks, this is how you stay relative. The Seattle did this too with a lot of those teams when they drafted well. You know who's done the exact opposite of this and has squandered what should have been a Super Bowl roster? And it's glaring because they did not make the postseason. And I do believe that they have, and this will blow your mind, because it's one of the worst defenses in the league. I believe it is the first or second most expensive defense in the league.
Ooh, Jets?
They did not make the postseason.
Is it Jets?
No. The Cincinnati
Bengals.
Bengals. They were terrible.
They look at Cincinnati's roster. Almost everyone that they have drafted over the last couple of years on the defensive side of the ball has been absolute dog crap. It has not worked out at all. And they have, and yet it's expensive. So free agency and draft picks, it is just not hit. Because if you took the Rams approach and you put that with what Cincinnati, that should be a Super Bowl team. And that's how a team like the Rams transitions from old to relevant. And the Rams should be good as long as Stafford could keep it together. This unit should keep getting better and better and better. Whereas if you're Cincinnati, you're sitting there right now being like, oh my God, we're probably gonna have to let T. Higgins go. And we don't know what to do because we're gonna have to eat a bunch of money and we're gonna have to go back and revamp that defense all over again.
Yeah. It's kind of a cool story. Makes me want to root for the Rams because I kind of like McVay anyway. But the scout
they did it right.
Behind these guys is a guy by the name of Michael Pierce.
Mm-hmm.
So Les Snead doesn't take all the credit. He points to this guy by the name of Michael Pierce who's on their scouting staff. And they interview him in this piece and they said, what did you see in all these guys? And he basically just said, well, one, he and Snead both say that, and there's something to this, obviously. When you have a kid who is at a lower level, a lot of times there is a chip on their shoulder. Yeah. It's like, hey, I'm good enough, but why didn't they see me in high school? So they also said to play at that level, you really have to love football. Yeah. Like it's a no frills kind of thing. You're not getting NIL. You're working at DoorDash. You're playing for the love of the game. He said that all adds up into sort of character things. But he said Michael Pierce said, anytime you go to watch a football game, it doesn't matter what level, whoever is dominating, that's the guy I want. Because he said it doesn't matter the level. You can level them up. If they are better than their competition at high school, at college, if you're watching them in, 1AA or whatever, and they're dominating, there's the guy I'm pinpointing. And he said that's what all 5 of those guys that we mentioned for the Rams defense, that's what they were.
Interesting. I hadn't seen that. Where's that article you said?
Wall Street Journal.
Wall Street Journal.
Yeah.
By the way, we've said this before. They do a great job.
Amazing. Good content.
Yes.
That and the New York Post provide us a lot of content.
The other one that I would like to point out that did it, and they are getting the credit, but Detroit. When you look at the Lions, this roster for the Lions has been built. Obviously you have like Jameson Williams and Gibbs were first-round picks, but look through this. So St. Brown was a 4th-round pick. I'm looking here. A couple of their offensive linemen, obviously like Penei Sewell was a 1st-round pick, but Laporta was a 2nd-round pick. Their defense has been built. It's almost exclusively through the draft. They have hit, and not just on the Aiden Hutchinsons, but everything from Terrion Arnold to Brian Branch to Kirby Joseph. They have done a phenomenal job not just with the first round guys, but the second, third, and fourth rounders that have filled out this roster, and then supplement it through free agency. I mean, at the end of the day, the NFL comes down to, if you draft well, it's really hard to screw it up. Once you assemble a good draft class, you will be successful because you will have cash and you have young, cheap players, and that's how you win in this league, unless you have a really special quarterback.